Hello, my name's Dr. Cameron Jones and I'm an environmental microbiologist. I'm here at this property today because the property manager has called me to come down and inspect because the owner-occupant is suspected of having aspergillosis, which is a serious lung disease, and she has symptoms of pneumonia. So does her daughter, and one of the reasons that I'm here is to perform an indoor air quality and mould inspection, and this is because the property has an evaporative air cooler on the roof. When it was serviced, apparently the technician appears to have connected something incorrectly, and a large volume of water ended up pooling within the roof void. And since then, whenever the family have put on their evaporative air conditioner, they've been having a series of respiratory problems, and over a period of time this has led to one of the occupants being diagnosed with aspergillosis. So anyway, I'm going to take...
Whenever I enter these types of properties where there are known health issues, I always use some type of respiratory protection. I know it's a bit hard to hear me, but I'm afraid for this walkthrough you'll have to bear with me whilst I wear this and talk to you. So anyway, I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough. I've just met with the tenant. She's unfortunately had to go back to the hospital. She's only been allowed out from hospital because she's caring for her two children. As I said, one of the children is quite sick as she is. So I'm just in the kitchen now, and I'm going to change the setting to show you what we can see on the roof. And now you can see some staining on the ceiling. Apparently the evaporative air conditioner is right above this. So I'll be taking samples throughout this property to see the impact. I approach indoor air quality inspections pretty much the same way for every property. I always do particle counting, which is a statistical test which shows me in a sense exactly what's going on within the home versus the outdoor air, and it shows me the particle size distribution for what's in the air. And it's quite a sensitive method to identify what the particle size distribution is on an inter-room variability basis. And it lets me decide, firstly, whether or not there is any particle challenge inside the property. And for this type of investigation, obviously I want to do particle counting with the air conditioning system on and off. So I'll do that now. The whole aim of indoor air quality and mould inspections is to collect as much information on each of the rooms in order to answer the question, is this home safe? What does the air particle size distribution show? Then when I repeat testing using spore traps, what are the types of spores and the different types of fungi that I can see inside the home? Is this the same type of fungal composition as the outdoor air, or is there a particular skew towards certain types of fungi that are dominant indoors? And then thirdly, when we move on to viable sampling, what can I actually culture out of the airspace or from target surfaces? And obviously I'm going to be inspecting the roof void later on in this walkthrough and sampling. I'm in one of the children's bedrooms, and this is the child that has also been admitted to hospital with symptoms of aspergillosis and pneumonia, and I've just gotten my first very significant red flag peak in the particle size distribution. So it'll be interesting to look further into the air handling system and also what looks to be a secondary evaporative air cooler in this room to see whether or not there are viable cultures of fungi which could be related to the occupant's adverse health symptoms. Now I've just taken another sample from the adjoining bedroom for the daughter, and here's another air conditioning system, and I can pull out the filter and you can see that this is just filthy. So this is not a good thing to have portable air cooling systems with such dirty filters. So that just goes to show you what is actually being filtered out of the air inside this property, and it's not pretty.
Now, it's really important whenever doing any type of indoor air quality and mold inspection is to collect a whole range of different types of data. And this includes particle counts, spore traps like I'm doing here, and also viable sampling. It's really the only way that you can be quite conclusive in any recommendations that I might make, or I need to inform a remediator or an insurer or a landlord or even the occupant regarding what I think is going on inside their property. So the take-home message is collect as much data as is suitable for the problem at hand. In this case, it is whether or not the indoor air quality might be contributing to the occupant's adverse health. So I need a lot of data here to be sure about what my recommendations will be.
I'm taking the last spore trap, and soon I'll be getting the ladder out and going up into the roof void to start collecting probably some of the most important samples for this inspection today, and that's inside the roof void. Now I've just gotten up into the roof void and I can immediately see that there's a whole lot of bat insulation up here, and what presumably has happened is that the plant and equipment that is the evaporative air cooler has wetted obviously this roof insulation, and then all this contaminated spore material from the fungus germinating inside and on this porous insulation tends over time to enter into the habitable parts of the home, and then the occupants breathe this in, and the cycle of infection begins and continues. Now I thought I'd show you what happens to the particle count when I start taking samples within the roof void. And I want to draw your attention to the 0.3 micron size range, which is the first line, and you can see that those are the ultra-fine particles. I'm really interested in the 5 and 10 micron particulate matter, and you can see that that's over 2000 for the 5 micron. Now you would expect to see an increase in this particular bin because fungal hyphae are actually quite thick, and we usually pick these up.
Okay, I'm nearing the end of this inspection. I still have to do infrared thermography, but I have to do something called viable Petri plate sampling. So I have these malt extract agar Petri plates, and these are fantastic for direct sampling of suspect surfaces. So obviously I'm going to check out the portable air conditioners in each of the children's rooms, as well as the roof void insulation and the underside of the ceiling in the kitchen, which shows obvious water staining.
So I'm going to use a Rodac plate to take a direct sample from the inside of the air filter and see what will grow. And you can see that that has faithfully collected a very good surface sample from this suspect air filter. And now I'll do the same with this particular air filter. Now, to maintain sterility, I only expose the Petri plate when I'm ready to take the sample. I lightly place it on the suspect surface. I there put it back into the base and incubate it back at the lab. Now I just want to summarise what I've done today. Obviously I've done a complete walkthrough of the property. I've spoken to the occupant and taken her history. I've spoken to the responsible person for this property, which is the property manager. And I've also spoken to one of the maintenance people who undertakes work at this property. I've now come in and I've done comprehensive indoor air quality testing, which has included, at minimum, particle size testing of all rooms, spore trap testing of all habitable rooms, and now viable testing of potentially suspect surfaces to see what is able to be grown. And from here, we'll be able to make very good recommendations which are evidence-based. I'm now using a simple infrared thermal camera to inspect the ceiling, and What you can see here is basically the background temperature of the ceiling in purple. Regions which in a sense are warmer are showing up as yellow. And so as we move over to the suspect area, all I'm really seeing is some missing insulation. So I can't actually detect any active moisture at ceiling level. That doesn't mean that before this inspection there wasn't serious water ingress and accumulation, but at least today under infrared I can't actually see any signs of temperature change, which is an indication of moisture.
Okay, well, I've done a comprehensive indoor air quality inspection. I've taken you through every step of the process. Just to summarise, I'm going to show you the spore traps that I've collected, as well as the direct samples from each of the portable air conditioners. And I've also taken a whole set of readings of the particle sizing with and without the main evaporative air conditioning system being on as well as off. So I can see differences in particle size distribution under these two conditions, and it'll be very interesting to see what the spore trap results show, because that'll be quite definitive proof which I need in order to connect the mole counts with this particular occupant's adverse health symptoms.